Alcaraz surprises by training with Djokovic. The 2025 Australian Open is just around the corner, and Carlos Alcaraz, one of the top favorites for the title, hasn't wasted a second. The Spanish player is already in Melbourne, preparing intensively for a crucial week in his journey towards glory at the first Grand Slam of the year. To start off on the right foot, Alcaraz has chosen Giovanni Pericard, a young French talent with an aggressive playing style, as his training partner, ideal for acclimating to the fast courts in Melbourne. But that's not all. The most anticipated moment will come on Tuesday, January 7th, when Alcaraz will share the court with none other than Novak Djokovic, one of the biggest rivals and icons of the circuit. This training session promises to be much more than just a simple exchange of shots. Both players will seek to fine-tune their strategies and adjust their levels to meet the demands of the tournament. Could this practice session foreshadow a potential matchup in the tournament? Carlos Alcaraz, who aims to further solidify his place as one of tennis great stars, views this tournament as a key opportunity to demonstrate his growth and continue making history in the sport. On the other hand, Djokovic, with more experience on these courts than anyone, will also want to show his best version right from the start. What do you think about this joint training session between Carlos Alcaraz and Novak Djokovic? Could it be an indication of what awaits us at the Australian Open? Leave us your comment with your predictions. The changes Alcaraz has made in his preseason to play a more offensive tennis. There's only 1 week left to see Carlos Alcaraz in action again, and the anticipation is huge. Fans are excited to see the Mercian player in what promises to be an exciting 2025, with plans to reclaim the world #1 spot. He certainly has the level to achieve this, and during this preseason, he's made a few tweaks to be more competitive on fast courts, which was his weak point last year. The majority of the tennis calendar is played on hard courts, so performing well on this surface is crucial in the battle for the ATP ranking title. Alcaraz did exceptionally well on softer surfaces, clay and grass, and won Roland Garros and Wimbledon, but he paid the price for struggling on hard courts, where he only won titles in Indian Wells and Beijing. Winning 2 titles on hard courts is impressive and would be signed by almost any player outside the top 5, but it's not enough to contend for the #1 spot, which is one of Alcaraz's goals. Additionally, the Indian Wells title is somewhat misleading because its conditions resemble those of clay courts, while Beijing is one of the fastest events on the calendar, and those are the ones that ultimately help win the Australian Open and US Open. The Australian Major, starting next Sunday, January 12th, is one of Carlos Alcaraz's top objectives for 2025, as it is the only Grand Slam he hasn't won yet. If he triumphs in Melbourne, he would become the youngest player ever to win all 4 Grand Slams, a record that currently belongs to Rafael Nadal, who achieved it at 24 years old, 3 years older than Alcaraz. To succeed on fast courts, Alcaraz has set out to be more aggressive, and this preseason, as Marca revealed, the Mercian has made a couple of changes. The first one is adding 5 extra grams to his Babolat racket. While 5 grams, about the weight of a sugar cube, might seem insignificant to an amateur player, it makes a noticeable difference at the highest level. The Mercian has one of the lightest rackets on the circuit, weighing only 308 grams unstrung and without the grip. Such a light racket allows him to do everything on the court, but it carries the risk of losing control of the ball if he doesn't hit it cleanly. Alcaraz, being so skilled, takes risks and needs to strike the ball perfectly to avoid mistakes. Once he strings the racket and adds the grip, it weighs about 330 grams. These additional 5 grams, applied using lead tape inside the racket, will help him gain some power and deliver an even more offensive version of himself, especially with his first shot, whether it's the serve or return. Additionally, this will allow him to play more flat, which is essential on fast courts, and move forward to the net to close out points, something he loves. This increase in racket weight, a tactic also used by Nadal to improve his serve, though Nadal placed the extra weight at the tip of the racket, while Carlos has done it near the neck, is complemented by an improvement in his serving technique. His serve has been one of his weak points in his early years, so he's decided to change his mechanics. He made a change last summer by moving from 2 stops to 1 when taking the racket back, and now he's opted to eliminate the stops entirely, making the movement in one smooth gesture. Carlos Alcaraz and his first opponent in Australia. The Mercian has completed his preseason in Spain and has planned his schedule to prepare intensively on Australian soil. Now, the new season officially begins for Carlos Alcaraz. Along with Jannik Sinner, he is one of the few players who chose not to compete in any tournaments before the Australian Open, the first Grand Slam of the season. He enters the tournament as the 3rd seed, and his schedule for preparation in Melbourne is now set. He will be training at 3:30 p.m. on Monday, January 6th, in Melbourne, which is 5:30 a.m. in Spain. His first training partner will be Giovanni Pericard. What is still unknown is his opponent and the date for his first match in the major, but he at least has an idea of the path he may take towards the desired final. It's worth remembering that, out of the 64 players in the singles draw, the seeding ensures that top players won't face each other until the third round. In the third round, seeded players will be matched up as follows: 1-8 against 25-32, and 9-16 against 17-24. It will be then that players like Kobeli, Makak, or even Pericard could cross paths with top favorites like Sinner, Zverev, Alcaraz, Djokovic, and others. Furthermore, by the quarterfinals, the main threat could be Novak Djokovic himself, due to his current ranking in the ATP circuit. The Mercian, along with his team, has left Melbourne's Tullamarine Airport and headed to his residence for the next 3 weeks. It is the majestic Crown Towers Hotel, which previously hosted Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer, among others. The hotel boasts tennis courts, a heated pool, restaurants, some of his favorite sushi spots, and is famous for its vast casino. The Champion Suite overlooks the Yarra River and is just a 15-minute walk, or 5-minute drive, from Melbourne Park's facilities. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, because here at Tennis Zone, we bring you the best content for the best audience. We offer in-depth analysis, exclusive interviews, and comprehensive coverage of everything related to the world of tennis. Join our community and be part of the excitement of the tournaments with us. Additionally, at Tennis Zone, we strive to bring you updated, high-quality content about players, tournaments, strategies, and the most relevant events in the world of tennis.